I never imagined that buying a stranger a bottle of water would cost me everything I had left and give me back everything I'd lost. My name is Dorothy Chen, and I'm 63 years old. 3 months ago, I had a home, a retirement fund, and a business I'd built over 30 years. Today, I'm standing in a hospital parking lot in Phoenix, Arizona, with $42 in my wallet and nowhere to go. Let me back up. My husband Robert and I ran a small accounting firm together for 28 years. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We had clients who trusted us, a modest house in Tempe, and a retirement plan that would let us travel like we'd always dreamed. Then Robert got sick. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. The treatments were brutal and expensive. Our insurance covered some of it, but not the experimental trial that gave us 3 extra months together. Not the in-home care when he couldn't be alone. Not the medications that cost more than our mortgage. I liquidated everything. The business accounts, our savings. I took a second mortgage on the house. Robert kept apologizing, kept saying we should stop treatment, let him go. I told him what I believed with my whole heart. You can't put a price on the person you love. He died on a Tuesday morning in March, holding my hand. 2 weeks later, I got the letter from the bank. Foreclosure proceedings. The medical bills had drained everything, and I'd missed 4 mortgage payments trying to keep up with creditors. The house, our home of 23 years, was gone. Then came the second letter. From our business partner, Marcus Webb. Marcus had been Robert's college roommate. When we started the firm, he'd invested $20,000 for a 30% stake. He rarely showed up, never handled clients, just collected his checks. We'd made him wealthy for doing essentially nothing, and we'd never complained. His letter, delivered by a lawyer, informed me that upon Robert's death, his share of the business reverted to Marcus, per an old partnership agreement I'd never read carefully. Marcus was dissolving the firm, selling the client list, and keeping all proceeds. My 30 years of work, the relationships I'd built, the clients I'd served were being sold off like used furniture. I got $6,000. That's what my 3 decades of 12-hour days were worth. $6,000. I was 63 years old, widowed, homeless, and broke. The house sold fast. I had 2 weeks to clear out. Most of our belongings went to storage, $120 a month. I couldn't afford. But I couldn't let go of Robert's things. Not yet. I packed what fit in my 15-year-old Honda: clothes, toiletries, my laptop, a file box of important documents, and Robert's wedding ring. I couldn't wear mine anymore. I'd sold it 3 weeks earlier for $850 to pay for Robert's last birthday dinner at the restaurant where we got engaged. I wanted him to have one perfect evening before the end. That $6,000 had to last until I figured things out. I'd applied for Social Security early, but payments wouldn't start for 6 weeks. I'd sent out 47 job applications, bookkeeping positions, retail, anything. At 63, with a decades-old skill set, I was either overqualified or too old. No one said it directly, but I heard it in their polite rejections. The money went faster than I'd imagined. A cheap motel, $59 a night. That's over $400 a week. After 2 weeks, I switched to sleeping in my car in a hospital parking lot. Security didn't bother you if you looked like you were visiting someone inside. Food. $30 a day trying to eat healthy. Then 20, then 15, then whatever was cheapest. Gas. Driving to job interviews, to the library to apply for jobs online, to free showers at the community center. Phone bill. $68. Had to keep the number active for callbacks. Storage unit. $120. Blood pressure medication I couldn't skip. $85 for a 3-month supply. By July, 8 weeks after Robert's death, I had $318 left. I was rationing everything. 1 real meal a day, usually oatmeal, or a 99-cent fast food sandwich. The rest was granola bars from the dollar store. I showered every 3 days to save the $5 community center fee. I spent my days at the library, staying cool in the air conditioning, applying for jobs that never called back. The Honda was my home now. I kept it clean, organized, clothes folded neatly in the back seat, documents in the file box. I had a camping pillow, a thin blanket, a gallon jug of water I refilled at the library. At night, I'd recline the driver's seat and try to sleep, one hand on the keys in case I needed to leave quickly. Most nights, I'd dream about Robert, In the dreams, we were young again. Before the illness, before the debt. We were in our first apartment, eating pizza on the floor because we couldn't afford furniture yet, laughing about how we'd make it work. I'd wake up in my car, gray dawn light coming through the windows, and remember that making it work wasn't possible anymore. I wasn't angry. I want to be clear about that. I'd do it all again. Every dollar, every sacrifice to have those extra months with Robert. But grief and poverty together create a special kind of exhaustion. You're too sad to fight, too tired to hope. On July 19th, I had $212 in my wallet. That morning, I'd received another rejection email. While your experience is impressive, we've decided to pursue other candidates. The position was stocking shelves at Target. Overnight shift. They'd decided to pursue younger candidates who could lift heavier boxes. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot and allowed myself 5 minutes to cry. Then I washed my face with the gallon jug water, changed into my one clean shirt, and drove to the library. The air conditioning hit me like a blessing. July in Phoenix means 115 degrees by noon. The car became an oven without the engine running, and I couldn't afford to waste gas idling. I'd been at the library for 3 hours, applying for positions I was qualified for but wouldn't get, when I realized I was hungry enough to feel dizzy. Low blood sugar, dangerous for someone my age. I needed to eat something. I checked my wallet. $212. I'd budgeted $10 for food today. That left $202 for everything else. Gas, phone bill due in 5 days, storage unit due in 6 days, next medication refill in 3 weeks. I walked to the Subway next door. A 6-inch sandwich, $4.89 with tax. Water was free. At the counter, I watched the woman in front of me. She was younger, maybe 40, wearing scrubs with a hospital badge. A nurse. She ordered, pulled out her wallet, and her face fell. "I'm sorry," she told the teenager at the register. "I thought I had my card. I must have left it in my locker." She looked exhausted, the kind of tired that comes from a double shift, from making life or death decisions for 12 hours straight. "I can hold the sandwich," the kid offered, uncomfortable. "You could come back? My break's almost over." She started to leave, then paused. Could I at least get a cup of water? I don't know why I did what I did next. Maybe because she reminded me of the hospice nurses who'd been kind to Robert. Maybe because I knew what it felt like to be hungry and helpless. Maybe because I'd spent so many weeks being invisible that I wanted to matter. Just once. To someone. "I'll pay for hers," I heard myself say. The nurse turned. "Oh, you don't have to. Please," I said. "Let me." I pulled out a 20. Her sandwich, a bag of chips, and a drink came to $8.73. With my sandwich, the total was $13.62. The cashier handed me my change. $6.38. I looked at the bills and coins in my hand. I'd just spent more than my daily food budget. I had $198.38 to my name. The nurse was staring at me, her eyes wet. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what this means. I've been on shift since midnight. I haven't eaten since yesterday. I know what it's like," I said simply. We sat together in the window. She scarfed down the sandwich between gulps of soda, apologizing for her manners. I assured her I understood. We talked carefully, the way strangers do. I didn't mention living in my car. She didn't ask why a woman my age was buying a single sandwich at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Her name was Kelly. She'd been a nurse for 16 years, working at Phoenix General. She loved the job, but the hours were brutal, and she was going through a divorce. "He kept the house," she said bitterly. "I kept the debt." "I'm sorry," I said. "Me too." She finished her chips and checked her watch. "I have to get back. But really, thank you. This was..." Her voice cracked. "This was the nicest thing anyone's done for me in months." After she left, I sat with my sandwich for a long time before eating it. I was thinking about kindness, about how little it cost to see someone's humanity. $8.73. It wasn't nothing, but it wasn't everything either. That evening, I drove to a different parking lot, a church this time. I'd learned to rotate locations so security wouldn't recognize my car. I reclined my seat, pulled my thin blanket up, and tried to sleep. At 2 a.m., someone knocked on my window. I jolted awake, heart hammering. A security guard was shining a flashlight at me. I rolled down the window. "You can't sleep here," he said. Not unkindly, but firmly. "I'm sorry. I'll leave. Shelter's 3 blocks that way," he said, pointing. "Street Vincent's. They have beds." I'd avoided shelters. Pride, maybe. Or fear. But it was 2 a.m. I was exhausted. And I had nowhere else to go. Street Vincent's was a low brick building behind a church. Inside, fluorescent lights hummed over rows of cots. It smelled like industrial cleaner and too many people in too small a space. A woman at the front desk, maybe 50, with kind eyes and tired shoulders, handed me a clipboard. "First time?" "Yes. We serve dinner at 6, breakfast at 7, lights out at 10, up at 6:30, 3-night maximum stay. Then you have to rotate out for a week before coming back. Do you have any weapons, drugs, or alcohol?" "No." "Medical issues we should know about?" "High blood pressure." "I have medication." She nodded, making notes. "Cot 23. Bathrooms down the hall. We have showers, but there's usually a wait in the morning." Cot 23 was between a woman who snored and a woman who cried quietly in her sleep. I lay on the thin mattress, my purse tucked under my pillow, and stared at the ceiling. This was my life now. 63 years old, sleeping in a homeless shelter. I thought about Robert, about the life we'd planned. This wasn't it. But I was still here, still breathing. That had to count for something. The next morning, I was up at 6:30 with everyone else. Breakfast was watery, oatmeal, toast, and coffee strong enough to strip paint. I sat at a long table with women who didn't make eye contact, who guarded their trays like someone might steal them. After breakfast, I went to the library again. More applications, more automated rejections. My phone battery was at 18%. I'd forgotten to charge it in the car yesterday, and the library outlets were all taken. At noon, I bought a 99-cent hamburger and a small water. That left me with $196.39. I was sitting on a bench outside, making the burger last, when I saw Kelly. She was walking toward the hospital across the street, still in scrubs, carrying a coffee. She saw me and waved, then jogged over. "Dorothy, hi!" She seemed genuinely happy to see me. "How are you?" "Fine," I lied. "You?" "Exhausted. 3 more hours, then I'm off for 2 days, thank God." She paused. "Listen, I know this is random, but are you okay? You look tired." "I'm fine," I said again. She studied me for a moment, then sat down beside me. "I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to be offended." "Okay." "Yesterday, you bought me lunch when you couldn't afford it. I could tell, and I've been thinking about it all night." She took a breath. "If you need help, please let me help you. I don't know your situation, but I know what it looks like when someone is barely holding on. I've seen it in the ER for 16 years. I felt my throat tighten. I'm between jobs. Where are you staying?" I couldn't answer. "Dorothy." Her voice was gentle. "Where are you staying?" "Street Vincent's shelter. For now." She closed her eyes. Okay, here's what we're going to do. My shift ends at 3. Meet me in the hospital lobby. I'm taking you home with me." "Kelly? I can't. You bought me lunch yesterday. Let me return the favor." "Please." I wanted to say no. I wanted to preserve what was left of my dignity. But I was so tired, and someone was offering help. And maybe, just maybe, I didn't have to do this alone. "Okay," I whispered. Kelly's apartment was small but clean. 1 bedroom, kitchen, living room. She set me up on the couch with a pillow and actual blankets, showed me where the bathroom was, told me to help myself to anything in the fridge. "I'm going to shower and crash," she said. "I have to be back at midnight, but you stay as long as you need." "Seriously. There's food. Wi-Fi password is on the fridge. Make yourself at home." I showered for the first time in 4 days. I washed my hair twice. I stood under the hot water until it started to cool. letting myself feel human again. That night, sleeping on Kelly's couch, I had the first restful sleep I'd had in months. Over the next week, Kelly and I fell into an unexpected friendship. She worked brutal 12-hour shifts, often overnight, and I tried to be helpful cleaning, cooking simple meals, doing laundry. She insisted I stay. "The company's nice," she said, "and you're helping more than you know." I kept applying for jobs. Still nothing. But having an address, a place to shower, clean clothes, it made a difference. I felt less desperate in interviews, less like someone who'd been sleeping in her car. On day 8, Kelly came home from her shift and found me on the couch, crying over my laptop. "What's wrong?" "I can't afford the storage unit anymore. They're auctioning my stuff next week." All of Robert's things. His books, his tools, his clothes. "It's all I have left of him." Kelly sat beside me. "How much?" $120. I have $83 left. The hospital bills I'd been ignoring had finally caught up with me, and my bank account was overdrawn. "It's fine. They're just things." "They're not just things," Kelly said firmly. "Wait here." She disappeared into her bedroom and came back with a checkbook. "What's the storage place?" "Kelly, no. Dorothy, you bought me a sandwich when you were living in your car. You think I don't know what that cost you? Let me do this. Please." She wrote a check for $200. "Pay the storage unit. The rest is for whatever else you need." I stared at the check, my vision blurring. "I'll pay you back. I know you will. When you can. No rush." That night, I lay on Kelly's couch and realized something. I'd spent $8 on a stranger, and that stranger had saved my life. Not in some dramatic movie way, in the real way, the way that matters. She'd given me shelter, food, dignity, hope. Kindness multiplies. That's what Robert used to say. One person's kindness creates more kindness. I'd forgotten that, in all the grief and struggle. But Kelly had reminded me. The next week, Kelly came home from her shift looking worried. "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. "You want me to leave?" "What?" "No. God, no. Listen, something weird happened at work today." She sat down heavily. "I was telling my supervisor about you, not like gossiping, just mentioning I had a friend staying with me. And she got really interested, started asking questions about your background, your work experience." "Okay. Her name is Dr. Patricia Okafor. She's the director of hospital administration, and she wants to meet you." "Why?" Kelly shook her head. "I have no idea. But she asked if you could come by tomorrow. 2 p.m. Her office is on the 4th floor." I showed up at 1:45, wearing my best interview clothes, which by now meant a blouse I'd washed by hand and pressed with Kelly's iron. The administrative floor was quiet, professional. Dr. Okafor's assistant, a young man with a kind smile, showed me to a corner office. Dr. Okafor was maybe 60, elegant and composed. She stood when I entered, shook my hand firmly. "Mrs. Chen, thank you for coming. Please, sit." I sat. "Kelly spoke very highly of you. She mentioned you ran an accounting firm?" "With my husband." "Yes. For 28 years. And you're currently looking for work?" "Yes." Dr. Okafor leaned forward. "We have a problem. Our hospital finance department is a disaster. Billing errors, insurance claim denials, late payments. We've had 3 finance directors in 2 years, none of them lasted. The position requires someone with deep accounting experience, someone who can untangle complicated financial situations, and someone with enough patience to deal with the chaos of hospital bureaucracy." I waited. "The position pays $72,000 a year, plus full benefits. It's 40 hours a week, occasionally more during audit season. It's not exciting work, it's fixing other people's messes. Mostly. But it's important." She paused. "Kelly told me you bought her lunch last week when you were living in your car. She said you didn't hesitate. It was just a sandwich." I said quietly. "It was character," Dr. Okafor corrected. "I've interviewed 15 candidates for this position. All of them had impressive resumes and no moral center. They wanted power, prestige. They didn't want to do the actual work." She looked at me intently. "I think you want to do the work. Am I right?" Yes, I said. Good. The job is yours if you want it. You can start Monday. I sat there, stunned. Just like that? Just like that. She smiled slightly. Mrs. Chen, I've been in hospital administration for 30 years. I can read a resume in 30 seconds. But reading character takes longer. Kelly told me who you are. That's the interview that matters. I started crying. I couldn't help it. Dr. Okafor handed me a tissue. One more thing. The position comes with a relocation stipend, $3,000 to help you get settled. Find an apartment, buy work clothes, whatever you need. Consider it a signing bonus. I wiped my eyes. Why are you doing this? She was quiet for a moment. Then, 23 years ago, I was an immigrant from Nigeria with a medical degree no one recognized. I was working as a hotel maid, sleeping on my sister's couch, sending job applications to every hospital in Arizona. One day, the hotel manager found me crying in the supply closet. I'd been rejected from Johns Hopkins for the 9th time. She smiled sadly. That manager was an older woman named Ruth. She sat with me for an hour, let me cry, then drove me to Phoenix General and walked me into the HR office herself. Told them, "This woman is a doctor. Give her a chance." They did. She saved my career. She saved my life. What happened to her? I asked. Cancer, 10 years ago. But I think about her every day. I think about how one person's kindness changed everything for me. Dr. Okafor met my eyes. Kindness multiplies. Mrs. Chen, you showed kindness to Kelly. Kelly showed kindness to me by telling me about you. Now I get to show kindness to you. And someday, you'll show kindness to someone else. That's how it works. I started at Phoenix General on Monday. The finance department was indeed a disaster. 6 months of backlogged insurance claims, billing errors dating back 2 years, a filing system that appeared to be purely decorative. It was overwhelming and tedious, and exactly what I needed. I worked. I untangled messes. I built spreadsheets, created systems, trained staff who'd been doing things wrong for so long they'd forgotten there was a right way. It was exhausting and satisfying, and, for the first time in months, I felt useful. Kelly helped me find a 1-bedroom apartment near the hospital. Tiny, affordable, mine. I moved in with almost nothing, a few bags of clothes, Robert's box of belongings, the camping pillow from my car. But it was a start. Dr. Okafor checked in with me weekly at first, then monthly. How are you managing? Better. Thank you. For everything. You're thanking the wrong person. Thank Kelly. Thank yourself for being the kind of person who helps strangers. By October, 3 months after I'd started, I'd cleared the backlog. Insurance claim denials dropped by 62%. We recovered over $400,000 in lost revenue from corrected billing errors. Dr. Okafor called me to her office. You've exceeded every expectation, she said. I'm recommending you for a promotion. Senior Finance Director. $15,000 raise, and you'd oversee the entire financial operations team. I was speechless. You've earned it, Dorothy. Say yes. Yes, I whispered. That evening, I called Kelly to tell her. She screamed so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. I'm so proud of you, she shouted. We're celebrating. Dinner. My treat. Kelly, you've treated enough. This one's on me. We went to a nice Italian place, the kind Robert and I used to go to on anniversaries. We ordered wine, pasta, dessert. We laughed about the chaos of my first week, about the billing clerk who'd been filing insurance claims alphabetically by patient first name instead of last name. As we were leaving, Kelly stopped. Dorothy, I have to tell you something. What? That day you bought me lunch, I wasn't just hungry. I was about to quit. Everything was falling apart, the divorce, the money, the hours. I was going to walk out of that hospital and never come back. She looked at me, her eyes wet. But then you, this stranger, showed me kindness for no reason. And I thought, if there are still people like this in the world, maybe it's worth staying. Maybe it's worth trying. She took my hand. You saved my life, Dorothy. I need you to know that. I hugged her tight. You saved mine too. November came. I'd been at Phoenix General for 4 months. My apartment had furniture now, thrift store finds, but comfortable. I'd unpacked Robert's things, displayed his favorite books on a shelf, framed his photo on my nightstand. It didn't hurt quite as much anymore. One Tuesday afternoon, Dr. Okafor's assistant called. Dr. Okafor would like to see you, 4 p.m., and she said to tell you it's good news. I knocked on her office door at 4 p.m. exactly. She waved me in, smiling broadly. Dorothy, sit. I have something to discuss with you. I sat. The board of directors meets every quarter to review hospital operations. Yesterday, I presented our financial recovery. The improvements you've made are remarkable. We're ahead of budget for the first time in 3 years. Claim denials are at an all-time low. Staff morale in finance is up significantly. She paused. The board wants to expand the program. They're approving funding for a new initiative, financial literacy workshops for patients. Many people leave this hospital drowning in medical debt, with no idea how to navigate payment plans, insurance claims, charity programs. We want to help them. That's wonderful, I said. They want you to lead it. You design the program, train volunteers, work directly with patients. It's in addition to your current role, so it comes with another raise $20,000. And Dorothy? She smiled. It was unanimous. Every board member voted yes after hearing what you've accomplished. I felt tears coming again. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Yes. Walking to my car after work, I thought about the path that had led here. Losing Robert, losing everything. Living in my car, sleeping in a shelter, down to my last $200. One decision to buy a sandwich for a stranger. That was all it took. $8.73. One moment of kindness when I had almost nothing left to give. And it had multiplied. Kelly to Dr. Okafor to me, to hundreds of patients who'd benefit from the new program. Kindness rippling outward, creating more kindness. Robert used to say that. I'd forgotten, in the grief and the struggle. But it was true. In December, 6 months after I'd started at Phoenix General, I got a letter. It was from Marcus Webb, my former business partner. The man who'd taken my company, sold it off, left me with $6,000 for 30 years of work. The letter was 3 pages long. Typed, formal. It began, Dear Dorothy, I hope this letter finds you well. I almost threw it away. But curiosity won. Marcus explained that he'd invested the proceeds from selling our firm into a tech startup. It had failed spectacularly. He'd lost everything, not just the money from our business, but his own savings, his house, his marriage. He was 65, broke, living with his sister. He wrote, I'm asking if there's any way you could help me. A loan, a job reference, anything. I know I don't deserve your help after what I did. But I'm desperate, and you're the only person I can ask. I read the letter twice. Then I set it down and thought about who I wanted to be. I could ignore it. He deserved that. I could write back something cruel. He deserved that too. Or I could remember what Dr. Okafor had taught me, what Kelly had shown me, what Robert had believed. Kindness multiplies. I wrote back, Marcus, I'm sorry you're struggling. I know how hard it is to lose everything. I'm not in a position to loan you money, and I don't think a job reference from me would help you. But I'm attaching information about Phoenix General's financial assistance program and a list of resources for people facing economic hardship. I hope things improve for you. Sincerely, Dorothy. I didn't forgive him. I didn't offer him my couch or my phone number. But I didn't turn away from his humanity either. That had to be enough. On Christmas Eve, I had dinner at Kelly's apartment. She'd invited her sister, Dr. Okafor, and a few nurses from the hospital. We crowded around Kelly's small table, eating too much food, laughing too loud. At one point, Dr. Okafor raised her glass. A toast. To Dorothy, who reminds us that doing the right thing matters. Even when it costs us, especially when it costs us, everyone raised their glasses. I felt my eyes well up for the 1,000th time since July. And to Ruth, Dr. Okafor continued softly, the woman who showed me kindness when I had nothing. May we all be someone's Ruth. After dinner, Kelly and I stood on her balcony, watching Phoenix's city lights. Do you ever think about how different things could have been? Kelly asked. If you hadn't bought me that sandwich? All the time, I admitted. Me too. It's weird, right? $8.73. That's all it took. I thought about Robert, about the life we'd built and lost, about living in my car, about the terror of having nowhere to go, about the moment I chose to help someone even though I couldn't afford it. Robert used to say that kindness multiplies, I told Kelly. I didn't really understand what he meant until now. Do you think he'd be proud of how you handled all this? I smiled, tears on my face. Yeah, I think he would. Below us, the city hummed with life. Thousands of people, each with their own struggles, their own moments of choice. Would they help the stranger? Would they offer kindness when they could barely afford it themselves? I hoped they would. Because I'd learned something in these 6 months. We're all one bad day away from needing help. And we're all one good choice away from being the help someone needs. That sandwich I bought Kelly cost me $8.73. It also saved my life, gave me a home, led to a career, created a friendship, and started a program that would help thousands of people. $8.73. Best money I ever spent.